Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. Had to think for a minute there what day it was. Welcome. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist. Here with some words of wisdom for your day. And we have an interesting card today. Again, it's one of those cards that kind of gives you overview. We have those cards that distill down to a specific in the moment, and we have the cards that sort of do overview. This one I view as overview. Good morning to whomever has popped on. It's not rolling your name, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. So let's start with some nice deep breaths. Good morning, Cindy. Glad you're here. Good morning, Joe Neal. Welcome, welcome. Glad everybody is here. Hello, hello. We're up to 5. Here's Beth. Good morning. Good morning. Everybody's starting to pop in. So let's rub your hands together. Good morning, Peggy. Getting some energy moving. And I just want you to move them around your head. We're just waking up your head and over your throat, giving your voice a little boost today. And down over your heart. Good morning, Ruth Ann. Welcome from the West Coast. Good morning, Mel. Welcome, welcome. And down over your arms, those instruments of doing, your arms. They also hug, don't they? All right, down over the trunk of your body. You can warm your hands up again in the middle. Bathing all of your organs in good energy. Good energy. And your back, our back that carries so much of us, right? And our hips and pelvis. One of the comments I read about pelvis years ago was the cradle within which we walk. And I thought that was a beautiful way to describe it. Down over your legs, carry us around our earth walk, and your feet. If you can bend over and get to your feet, fine. I'm not going to, because all you're going to see is the top of my head then. But there, we just woke up your whole body. And then sending some energy out to each other. Oh, happy birthday, Mel. Welcome. Glad you're here. Spending the beginning part of your birthday with your Practical Rebels tribe. That's awesome. Hope you're going to do some fun things for your birthday. All right, so now a little bit of breathing. We're just waking up everything. Tapping your chest. Feels like that's something to do today. And our card for today is actually talking about our life path, talking about our journey through this earth walk. Pilgrim Cards deck, Austin Repath. Need another drink. Happy birthday, you too. We got happy birthdays all over the place. Okay, cool. Whomever it is your birthday, happy birthday. And whomever of us it is not our birthday, we're going to celebrate just being here, right? Pilgrim cards. And as you know, my take on the pilgrim cards is they are often very eloquent and a little bit dark. But usually by the time we get to the end, the big picture sort of reveals itself. And this one is one of those. So especially for the birthday, this is an opportunity to kind of do the overview of life. So as you listen to this card, think about it as talking about life path, right? So here we go. Nice deep breath in and out. The teacher. Your eyes scan the horizon for far-off possibilities. Your mind speculates on the significance of the journey. Your body cries out for rest. It is only your feet that meet the reality of the way. And a good thing we bless the feet today, right? Meanwhile, your soul opens to a wordless truth, struggling up toward consciousness. I like the way he put that. Isn't that kind of how it goes? We have these thoughts that are operating, and sometimes it's like, oh, something's waiting to birth itself here. Something's coming up. I can feel it. I know there's a wisdom coming to me. The pounding of the baker's hands makes the yeast rise in the dough and readies it for the oven, worthy to be bread at the banquet. Think of the banquet as life. Worthy to be bread at the banquet. So, too, does the road pummel you. So life, as we walk along, takes some swings at us, doesn't it? We have some difficulties. We fall down. We learn some things. We get back up. We dust ourselves off. We keep going, right? Good morning, Amy. Welcome, welcome. You sense that the road is the teacher of all that is worth knowing. Good morning, Lucy. Welcome. Good morning, Angie. Welcome, welcome. I love that line. I want to read that again because, again, if you think about this as the road of life, you sense that the road is the teacher of all that is worth knowing. Walking our life path is teaching us everything we need to know, everything that's worth knowing. You believe you have to simply be true to the way, morning, afternoon, evening, night. Hills that tire and valleys that block out the sun. A simple revelation rises up within you. One day you will cherish this road that burnishes all that is best in you and makes you worthy to take your place at the banquet. Powerful card, powerful card. It, I think, helps us to embrace the things that are difficult on our life path. Those difficulties are burnishing us to be our best selves. As we work our way through those difficulties, we are learning, we are growing, we are up-leveling, right? And oftentimes it's through the difficulties that we make our greatest growth. Sometimes when we're in the middle of it or we're right on the front end of it, it's kind of like, yeah. But keep that wisdom in mind. And I think most elders, there's a difference between being old and being an elder. Elders are those who have done this very thing. They've taken the difficulties in their life path and turned them into the wisdom that they can then share with others when others are ready, willing, and able to learn it, right? And I think a hard piece, I always think about those on the other side watching us going, oh my God, here she goes again. She didn't get it again. But my guess is we're the judgmental ones of ourselves. They're like, eventually she'll get it. Let's send her another opportunity to learn it. And many of us wonder, why do the same patterns repeat? Because we haven't learned it yet. Whatever it is it's trying to teach us, we have not fully embraced it yet. So, and sometimes I'll stand there and look up and go, okay, what am I meant to learn? Clearly I'm not getting this. Help me understand. What is it I'm missing about this type of circumstance that keeps repeating? Okay? So, when you encounter a difficulty, what if you embraced it? What if you kind of rubbed your hands with glee and saw it as the gift of wisdom it's going to become? As you engage with it, as you navigate through it. Again, Winston Churchill, if you find yourself walking through hell, keep walking. We gain the wisdom from those events as we navigate our way through it. What if something popped up, a seeming obstacle in your way, and you cheered because you were so excited? Here's my opportunity. Here's my chance to learn one of those big things I'm supposed to be learning here. So I kind of like the idea of obstacle course. Remember those in gym class? They'd set up all this equipment all over the gym and make an obstacle course, and you had to climb ropes and crawl through things and jump over stuff. We loved that as kids, didn't we? It was opportunity to challenge ourselves, to see what we could do, etc. How about if we brought that same enthusiasm to life's obstacles? Oh, here's one. Yay! I get a chance to test drive what I can do with this. Wouldn't life be different? Wouldn't life be different? Obstacles is part of the process. And I went to an amazing summit yesterday in Wausau, Wisconsin, where there were many faith-based individuals and city and county planner people and all manner of folks talking about the housing crisis and what their particular city, town, whatever is doing to address the housing crisis. And to the person, what I was seeing was, first of all, amazing, innovative ideas for how they were addressing these issues. And two, that willingness to keep coming at it. Okay, this obstacle gets put up with zoning. Let's address that. Okay, this obstacle gets put up with money, finances. How are we going to finance this thing? There's one being built in Madison, Wisconsin, pretty close to the Capitol. I think the church is like 3 blocks from the Capitol. And they've actually made the decision to raise the church and build a 10-story building, first floor of which is going to be the church, and the upper floors are going to be affordable housing. Good morning, Gwen. Welcome, welcome. And just listening to that pastor, a very young man, just listening to him talk about, kind of the eye roll. Okay, we're $3 million between, we've got a gap. We got to fill that gap. But it's clear from how he speaks. They will fill that gap. They will find a way, make a way. A woman from Eau Claire who was talking about the amazing creative ways that they've addressed housing issues in Eau Claire, and her tenacity in getting things done. She rallied people over and over and over again. Okay, those of you impacted by not being able to find affordable housing, let's all show up at this board meeting and let's have a conversation with the powers that be and put the face on this problem. Same for this. The teacher. As we're walking our life path, as we're running into the obstacles, as we're regrouping, stepping back, maybe looking at, okay, what are my options here? Here's this boulder in my way. What are my options? I can try to smash the boulder and go through. I can go around the boulder. I can crawl over the boulder. I can dig under the boulder. I can get some help with this boulder. Options, options, options. And not, one of the things several of us who are dealing with faith communities talked about was, how do we help churches look beyond what they've always had to do, which is we cobble it together somehow. We're on duct tape and a prayer. And while that mindset has served them in the past, it isn't serving them the best right now. One of the speakers estimated that in the next 10 years, 40% of churches in the U.S. are going to be shuttered, torn down, repurposed for non-faith-based purposes, etc. That's 4 out of 10 churches are no longer going to be churches. That's a pretty powerful indictment of what's going on in faith-based communities these days. One of the other people, excuse me, got a cough today. One of the other people talked about, they did an assessment over the course of a year on their church, all of the visitors that came to their church and what they were there for. 9% were there for worship services. 91% were there for other things. You can't ignore that kind of data. You got to do something with that. So my friend Rayford Ray, who's the bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Northern Michigan, has said for years, people are no longer coming to churches to worship. We got to take the worship out to them. So what kind of opportunities do you create for that? Do you go and have listening hours at the local coffee house? Do you do ministry through other organizations like Feeding America, whatever? How do you get the faith-based word out there in other ways? It was very interesting. And the communities, the faith-based communities that were present at this gig yesterday were widespread. It wasn't just all Christian churches. There was a lot of other faith-based representation there, which was cool. So how do we do this thing? How do we do this thing? How do we listen to this teacher that is life, that is teaching us through some of these arduous opportunities? They may not look real pretty on the surface. We may be kind of banging our heads against some walls to begin with. But how do we lock arms, stabilize ourselves, move forward, become that community that is going to hold things together, is going to create groups that are bonded, that support each other, that make it easier to walk through the difficulties of life? How are we going to do that? So there was actually, for those of you who love to read, one of the men who was talking, Mark Elston, who's a pastor in Madison, has 2 books. We Aren't Broke, Uncovering Hidden Resources for Mission and Ministry. And one of the challenging questions he raises to faith communities is, are you more interested in buildings or are you more interested in your ministry? Some places have the luxury of having both. Many of them are getting to the point where they are going to have to pick. The second book is Gone for Good, and the subtitle is Negotiating the Coming Wave of Church Property Transition. And again, we just had a farm here in Appleton that sold for $3 million to a developer who's going to put up luxury housing in the next 5 years. Churches are going to be posed that same question. Are you going to sell to a developer who's going to make a whole lot of money on whatever they put on that property? Or are you going to maybe do something that aligns with your ministry, with your property? We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting time, I think. But your question for today, let me find it here again, is, are you willing to meet that teacher, the road of life? Are you willing to meet that teacher that is offering you all that is worth knowing? Are you willing to meet that teacher, the road of life, that is offering you all that's worth knowing? Are you going to show up? Are you going to study? Are you going to learn? Are you going to do your best with this life path that we are all walking? What are you going to do? I'd love to hear some of your comments in the feed, and I'll comment back. I realized I forgot to follow up on yesterday's and get it posted. I was so busy trying to clean up, having been gone for the day. So I will actually post yesterday's and today. There's a yes, yes, yes. Fabulous. Cool. Maybe you want to put up a few ways of how you're going to do that. How are you? Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. How are you going to meet that challenge? What ways will you use? For me, one of them is being willing to be uncomfortable, being willing to do things that I haven't done before, that I don't know if I'm going to do well, that I may mess up. Learn from that, grow, move on. Lather, rinse, repeat. What about for you? So, have an awesome Friday. I'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.